Have you ever felt completely overwhelmed? This time of year is a breeding ground for it. So much pressure, so much to do, and it can all too often feel like the weight of our responsibilities and emotions, or even our thoughts, are just too much to handle. Well, you're not alone. Overwhelm is something we all experience, but the good news is there are simple, effective ways to move through it and to find inner peace. And in this video, we're going to dive into that. We're going to explore ways to help us deal with overwhelm. Because put simply, overwhelm happens when there's too much input and not enough capacity to process it all. It might sometimes come from external stressors like work or relationships, or it can come from internal struggles like negative self-talk or unprocessed emotions and trauma. Either way, when we're overwhelmed, it is almost impossible to focus on anything, let alone our own growth or our healing. And the thing is, overwhelm and the feeling of it isn't actually a personal failure. It's our nervous system's way of telling us that it needs more support. It's a signal from the body, not a personal attack. It's an invitation to listen to our own needs some more. So let's explore how to give ourselves that support, especially in those overwhelming moments. The first thing I'm going to introduce you to, and you might have heard of it before, is grounding techniques. When you're overwhelmed, your mind is racing, and a simple grounding exercise is something like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method, which is naming 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can taste, 1 thing you can smell. What it does is it instantly pulls you into the present moment. But you could also try something like fire gazing, going for a walk in nature, placing your bare feet on the ground for a while, something that helps ground you into the present moment and allows you to pause is a grounding technique. Next, there's breath work, and this is my go-to because it's always available to me no matter where I am in the world. My breath's always there waiting for me to check back in. And we can try a simple breath technique together, which is going to be to inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. And we can do it together for a few rounds, nice deep belly breaths, allowing the diaphragm to expand so that we can experience how this can settle us. We'll take a nice deep exhale together, and then in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just a few rounds, and it helps to slow down the heart rate. Maybe you can already feel it, or you want to pause and continue that. Finally, I want to introduce you to journaling. If you're not already doing it, it's something such a great tool when we're feeling overwhelmed, because when everything is in our head, it is unmanageable. So especially this time of year, the egoic mind is going crazy, and what we need to do is release that and bring it out into physical form, and that's what writing does. It brings the chaos out into physical reality so that it's not consuming our thoughts. And it doesn't even have to be writing. You could write a note on your phone. Sometimes I voice note on my phone. Whatever it is, it's just getting it out of your head and even to a trusted friend into, like I say, physical reality, such as paper. And then from that, we can actually start to look and assess, okay, what's 1 or 2 things that I can address right now, and what's 1 or 2 things that I can let go. Because remember, overwhelm is not a signal. It's not a stop sign. It's not for us to retreat or to go inwards. It's actually an invitation for us to pause and reset. It's an invitation for us to slow down and to acknowledge that too much is coming in and we don't have the capacity to process it coming out. And this is so important because otherwise we can fall into negative patterns of self-shaming and things like that, where we can start to pull ourselves down even deeper. Doing a quick grounding technique in the moment when life is feeling really, really tough will help to rewire the brain. Doing a breathing exercise like in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6 is going to help shift you from sympathetic fight, flight, freeze mode and into parasympathetic rest and digest mode. It's going to help teach you that you are safe. There's no tiger in the room. It's okay. You are safe, even if you're wired to believe that you're constantly not. And by writing it out, we're getting to know ourselves better. And that is self-inquiry, self-awareness, self-study. And that allows us to start to be more at ease and more at peace with ourselves. So there are 3 things that you can do right now in the here and now. Ground yourself, take some beautiful breaths intentionally to calm the nervous system, and then allow yourself to explore yourself a little bit more. And by doing this, the overwhelm, it will ease. It's not a solution to it. It is definitely a quick fix. And in order to get to the root cause of these overwhelming episodes that you may take a little bit more deeper inquiry and deeper work. But especially for now, especially for this time of year, taking one of those 3 or all 3 is going to really help you to live a little bit more liberated into the new year. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's always an absolute pleasure to show up, and I'd love to hear how you deal with overwhelm. What are your go-to strategies? Let's get the conversation started, because there's people watching, and you never know, you may be able to offer some support, some advice to somebody else just purely by sharing and opening up what you do. So please write in the comments what you love to do when you're feeling overwhelmed, so that other people have the tools to start to live life liberated. Thank you so much for joining me again today. I can't wait to see you next time on these short but sweet videos that hopefully are helping you to show up for yourself and to obviously understand that there is liberation within you when we turn inwards and we seek it.